Welcome to Biz Dev Live. This is Biz D with the C. I'm so excited to bring you Linda, Rey, and Trevor with Aurora Consulting today. We're going to get a lot of fun, a lot of financial advice, and some just great straight up business advice. We're going to get into it right after the Biz Dev theme. Stay with me.
Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T.
Linda, Rey, and Trevor have 60 plus years experience combined with owning and managing businesses in the financial services industry. They work with other relentless entrepreneurs who want to expand their enterprise. They help business owners with business financing as a concierge brokerage to help navigate the complicated business loan process. They also specialize in disaster relief financing as a result of COVID-19. You're definitely going to want to check them out on their own YouTube channel, Linda, Rey, and Trevor. They're with Aurora Consulting. They're with me today. Thank you so much for being on the show, Linda, Rey, and Trevor.
Woo! First of all, I could just dance to your theme song. Like
I'm still dancing to that theme song.
We may have to break.
I love the little Dire Straits Mark Knopfler guitar part at the end because I'm a guitar player. So I'm like,
I dug it too.
I'm totally rethinking. Trevor, you need to write us a theme song stat. Okay.
I've only had 3 cups of coffee so far.
And it's too many. Okay.
I'm on number 2. So I want to get into it. Tell people what you do. You know, one of the things that's really exciting about talking to you is like finance. I'm good at a lot of things. And I think this is true of a lot of small businesses. You know, you have those things that you're really, really good at. Things that I can talk about, you know, being really good at it, you know, creating a culture within my company. I did that without intending to do that. Really great at hiring wait staff and bartenders and chefs for Tilt Event staffing over the last 9 years. Really great at logistics. When it comes to finance, that is definitely my weakness, right? Bookkeeping, the paperwork, all that jazz. So talk to us a little bit about what you're doing right now. And then I'd love to get back into your background and history and how you got into all this.
You are not alone. That's why we are here.
Yes. Well, so, all right, Trev, what was the question again? I'm sorry, Cameron.
What the hell do we do?
What do we do?
What do you guys do?
Okay, so this
Now
is a family show.
It's a family show.
It's a family show. Okay, so
I want to hear this too.
I know. In a nutshell. So Trevor and I, as you said, we have between the two of us 60 plus years experience in business. I've owned a business. Trevor has managed several businesses. My background is 30 years insurance. Trevor's 30 years of mortgage banking. So his financing is the key expertise in this team here. And my expertise is marketing. So between the two of us, we try to just help businesses understand and have an awareness that there is a resource to find financing when your banker can't help you, and not because they don't want to, but there are guidelines, there are underwriting guidelines, there are restrictions, conditions.
Their hands are tied by so many different conundrums and confiscations and contradictions. Linda loves alliteration. By the way, she's just totally selling herself short here, Cameron, because this gal grew up in the insurance industry. Her father owned an insurance agency, so she was in high school typing up binders and things, and she ultimately owned that agency and sold it at a profit. And she has been arguing with underwriters the way I have for decades and winning those conversations. And the thing about I think what our special sauce is, 2 whole beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, is that
I'm hungry.
both. I've had Big Macs on my head all day. I don't know why. And the thing about us is that we've been interacting with these folks who are decision makers in credit risk or in insurance risk, and so we like to think we have a different take or a different perspective on how to approach that type of a request, that type of a situation.
Well, and also we developed in the last almost 2 years now, we've developed a matrix of lenders for different types of businesses and different niches and specialties of types of businesses that lenders are eager to lend. So when you've had a 10, 20, 30 plus year relationship with your banker, like I said before, they may not be able to get it done, and not because they don't want to. So that's where we sought out to have resources. We've always in our respective careers have been a resource, and we wanted to continue that in this endeavor.
We've also been in our respective careers kind of bull in a china shop type of thing, because a lot of times you just have to charge through the obstacle that someone, there's a lot of moving parts. A lot of folks are involved in the process of a loan request, and you literally have got to charge through those obstacles, go over them, climb over them like on a Marine Corps fitness course up that 12-foot wall, or charge around it, whatever you got to do. And that strength comes from our experience in our respective careers.
I love that. So, in terms of clientele, you're working with what types of small businesses, what type of folks?
Well,
all over the map.
Yeah, we've had one of our clients right now, 2 of our clients are in the food and hospitality industry, which with COVID is sort of like, well, we have one client who is a pro.
Well, we did a hair salon acquisition.
Yeah.
We're working on a sandwich shop acquisition right now, with not a franchise, just a local sandwich shop. We have restaurant clients. We have a convenience store client up in Boston. We have a bar and lounge in Boston.
Yeah. It's been mostly hospitality, interestingly enough.
Self-employed individuals, graphic design.
While you're talking,
Yeah.
I'm in the hospitality industry, and I sort of understand, I think, the landscape. I think it's got to be a huge opportunity if you are well financially endowed at this moment, right? If you are in that place where you have put your pennies together and you have the money to spend, this is a great time to swoop in, because for every person's, challenging moment, for the folks that are, unfortunately, suffering in the pandemic, this does create some great opportunities for acquisition. I've certainly thought about it myself in terms of, what can we sort of add? We know that we're not doing well now, but we know this time will come to an end and life will pick up. So how do we do that? And then that brings in the question, like, okay, do I go out and get some financing so I can pick something up and hit the road a little bit harder and faster once things open up?
Well, one thing I do want to say is, for your viewers, I want to just take a poll on how many times you think Trevor's going to nudge me to stop talking, number one. Because that happens underneath the table. I'm either nudging him or he's nudging me. So we're going to do a little poll on who you think is going to get nudged the most. But that's why I was saying that one of our clients is in the restaurant business, and he's a pro, because what you're saying is what he's embracing as opportunity. And I think Trevor can speak so that I don't nudge you and then lose our bet on who nudges more.
Well, COVID brings a whole other set of challenges for anybody who's looking to acquire any kind of business right now. We have lenders who specialize in FedEx financing, for example, and they're not going to consider anybody acquiring a FedEx route if that person doesn't have some heavy-duty relevant experience to manage that route. Same thing with the restaurant. For a neophyte to come in today, and as you said, Cameron, to kind of swoop in, the chances of you getting financing are going to be dramatically diminished because of the lack of experience. And so we're helping an expansion of a restaurant where the owner has 35 years experience, and he runs his restaurant like, you know, he could be running a software company. He could be manufacturing, you know, automobiles for the way he runs his business, which is, as you know, Cameron, from your experience, very different from the typical ownership landscape of restaurant owners. The same with our small sandwich shop acquisition. Both of the buyers, their husband and wife, the husband has extensive 20 plus years of retail experience. And then the wife has experience in the restaurant and hospitality trade. So those are the things with COVID. I mean, in good and better times, the lenders are looking for that, but especially during COVID, they want to see that because they want to know that you are resilient the minute you get the keys to open up the door to the business.
Well, too, and I want to add to this that, you know, Trevor alluded to startups at being super challenging, but like, for instance, we have lenders and we have capabilities of securing monies for a startup, but there's conditions, especially with COVID, because we just put a new video in our Advancing with Financing series on YouTube this morning about needing a website in 2020 and why. And the thing is, there's just other layers of due diligence that's coming into the picture with these lenders. So you can have a startup, but it may not be where you're doing this kind of thing for the first time.
Again, it's
about I love where you're both going. So I want to just make this point, and then I want to kind of get into your history, because I think we're going to come back to a lot of these kind of things that, you know, are the business building things. I want to get into like the marketing side of things, the YouTube channel. I want to get into sort of that really sort of nuanced statement that you said, you know, in terms of like startup inexperience versus pro and running it like a software company versus the mom and pop restaurant shop. I'm reading Profit First. So along the financing things and, you know, just understanding, you know, how you manage your cash and understanding that when you build a business, it is to build profit, not to have a restaurant, although that can be a great benefit if you enjoy it. The idea at the end of the day is that you make cash, and what makes so many restaurants in particular fail, I forget the statistic, but it's something like horrible, like 1 in 5 close within 5 years, something like that. The reason so many fail is because they aren't looking at those dynamics and making sure that profit is coming out first.
As the Irish pub owners want to say, oh, you know, Paddy went out of business. He was drinking up all the profits.
A lot of people drinking up the profits, especially when there wasn't profit to begin with. And I've been in that particular situation. I don't own a restaurant, but on the hospitality side, I was like, oh, I'm sending out staff. Oh, look, I'm paying more to send the staff out than I'm charging, right? So I had to reevaluate and, you know, because you got all these sort of, they're not hidden, but they're not exactly hour for hour, you know, here comes the eggs and this, you know, there's insurance costs, there's these overhead costs, there's these things that are a little bit more difficult to multiply and division towards your assets for the end of the year. And if you don't figure that stuff out, you will lose money in your business. So let's talk about your background, your history, how you guys wound up coming together. You guys are a fantastic pair. You created not only a great consulting company.
We're together, but we're not together, like legally together, but we're together.
I wasn't alluding to any of that, but I was talking about business partners. But
yeah, okay. We're business partners. We're life partners. My non-husband, live-in lover. Yeah, it's like people know that we live together and we work together, and it's been one of my most favorite partnerships of all time. You know, my background, 30 years in the insurance business, having owned a business and all of the, you know, benefits and things that go along with that. Having gone through the 30 years in insurance, I was like, you know, I think I want to try something else or something different. Or 30 years is a long time to be doing one thing. And even though I was able to change up how I did certain things in the business, I've done all sorts of positions, hats, roles in the insurance business, but I felt there was just something more that I wanted to do. So I sold half of my company, and Trevor and he retired from the mortgage banking. He'll talk about that, but I wanted to do consulting for insurance agencies, doing marketing for insurance agencies. It's one of the most favorite things that I loved about what I was doing. But I quickly found out that it's so different when you're marketing for your own business versus marketing for hire for someone else's business and to help someone else's business grow. I mean, I love being part of the business story, but I wanted to have my own business again and market for my own business. So I said to Trevor, what are you doing and what are we doing? And let's do something together. Is that about almost accurate besides the nudge I got? All right. So I got one nudge so far.
Actually, we met through business as a mortgage banker. We met on Facebook because Linda owned an insurance agency, and that's how we met professionally originally. And then somewhere along the line, romance came in there, and it's a family show, so we can't really go into how that started.
Bow, bow.
Use your imagination.
Anyway.
And ultimately, we have arrived at a place where we are both getting to work in the ways that we've always wanted to work. When Linda worked with other people and when I worked for other people. Mm-hmm. And we often found ourselves saying to ourselves in our separate careers, why the hell don't they just get out of our way and leave us alone? Because we can be massively successful if you just stop putting obstacles in our path within our own organizations. And here we are, and we have found that perfect symbiosis of not getting in each other's way, including the nudges during live stream video conferences,
including going to separate ends of the house to save lives. Okay. But also, I just want to give a shout out to Christine Gritman because I'm wearing her small business tee. See?
Oh, nice.
Hi, Christine.
Hi, Christine. And I just had to do that because I don't usually wear t-shirts on live, but this is a special t-shirt. So I can't show you the back, but she has her name on the back underneath the neckline here. It's really cute. So I love it.
Very, very cool.
Cameron, a moment ago, you mentioned about the kind of the unexpected things that come up, like you said about in your case with your business, certainly how you were going to adjust your pricing because of the staff costs, which is one of the reasons of probably 17 million reasons why we advocate profusely, profoundly, and frequently and often have a business plan.
Yeah. The business plan conundrum it's interesting because, most people don't realize how capable they are of accomplishing that, even though it's such an overwhelming, daunting task at the onset because of all the components of the business plan. And we had a friend of ours who she's an artist and she was like, I don't even know what some of these terms are. And she's left brain, right, with the creative side. And I said, well, just think of it as a vision plan. Think of it as something, a means to a future goal of some sort and all the activities in between to get there and using your imagination and creativity of how to accomplish just the tasks that get you to accomplishing this plan. But people just underestimate planning and preparation.
It helps you anticipate the unexpected.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The interesting thing about watching you guys, because you're just all over media right now. You have YouTube, you're rocking it, right? I was talking about before we jumped on just your fantastic appearance at the recent Pop Summit, right? We were talking about in the chat while you were going through all of the work on post editing, so that I know that we're bringing in the marketing experience. You guys are really entertaining to watch. Finance is traditionally a dry topic. You guys bring a lot of humor and fun to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm interested because we're talking about business plan. How does that fit into your business? And I particularly am interested in this because I advocate right now, pushing my own YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff, bringing people in terms of foot traffic, because we're in a new age and foot traffic looks a lot different. How does that fit into your business plan? And how should other folks and other businesses be thinking about that marketing aspect in their business plan?
I'm going to just give a quick intro to what we do, why we think about it, and then hand it over to her to give more detailed explanation. A one-page business plan is not a business plan.
It's a start. I mean, even Oprah had a recommendation on how to structure a one-page business plan. So there are some times that we disagree, Trevor and I.
Right now.
But
now.
I think if you're gonna just on the one-page business plan, I think it's a great start. And then you can expound upon everything that's in there. I mean, I'm writing a book right now, and when I did my outline, I remember one time turning one sentence into 1,000 words. So it's possible to expound, but
I was just going to say, some kind of plan, whole lot better than no plan.
That's right. That's exactly right. And you can't celebrate progress if you're not starting somewhere. So that's why I disagree with you on that. But as far as the marketing is concerned, the marketing, and I don't know if this will answer the question, but marketing is another one of those daunting tasks where if you love it, then it's great because it's, you know how to create fodder into marketing, into media. Not everyone has either the time or the inclination to, create content and curate content and publish content. But with the day and age that we're in now, like you speak of, I think showing up online is the only way to, unless there's another way and someone can comment on this and correct me, but showing up online, the only way to show up online is to be online. And to be online, you do have to create. And in order to create, you have to have a plan. So, I mean, we kind of keep going back to that 4-letter word.
Which, by the way, that plan is going to be folded into your business plan.
Yes.
On page 74
of
your business plan. So we launched Aurora Consulting for our financing business December of 2018.
Yeah.
And we hit the ground running. We signed up our first client within a few days, actually. And over the course of the months up to COVID, we were building our business, working with clients, and every lender everywhere, every lender says, okay, tax returns, financial statements, business plan. So we would contact the clients and say, I need your business plan. And people didn't have business plans.
One client had a business plan.
One client. Now,
out of dozens.
Part of our disagreement about the business plan is I was a loan officer at a mortgage banking company, and I had a 22-page business plan. I didn't own the company. I had my own 22-page business plan. I knew who my ideal client was. I knew the type of products that I wanted to focus on and the products that I wanted to stay away from.
It's probably not a mystery why our business plan is 23 pages. We just upgraded.
So
I think we just upgraded.
As a result of this, I was writing short form business plans, which were more than one page, but short form business plans to get their financing approved. And we looked at each other. We said, wait a minute, we're essentially doing this work that the business owner should have done for free. So we launched Bridge Street Business Plans, which is a standalone company. And any business owner who does not have a plan or has not updated their plan as of March 16th, 2020, when COVID became official, at least here in Connecticut, they need to reach out to us, bridgestreetbusinessplans.com.
Yeah. So, but anyway.
And I love seeing the opportunity because I think that's a big piece. A lot of people will maybe, and I'm guilty of it too. I've been running a business for the last 9 years, and sort of as COVID hit, I found myself sort of like kicking the wall saying, man, there was these opportunities that I saw coming up. I would have been keyed into some things that would have been COVID-friendly businesses. My whole business, although we had a diverse set of clients, 1,400 clients, we have corporate clients, private-owned clients. Well, guess what? All of those business tie-ins were based on live events.
Yes.
So yes, we had diverse clients, but we were not built for bringing in different types of revenue from different places in a way that would have been beneficial during a pandemic. So
right.
I think that constant diversification of your business in lots of different types of ways, bringing in income in lots of different ways, and especially as you gain experience. You become a pro within your industry to sort of add these nuanced pieces to it. And I love that you guys did that. I saw an opportunity, saw a need, and took advantage of that.
I think with marketing, and I could talk about this, I've always said insurance is in my blood, but marketing is in my soul. I think if marketing is, like I said before, if it's a daunting task for you to embrace for your business, I think it's similar to when you want to work out. The hardest part is putting your workout clothes and walking out the door. With marketing, the key is deciding, where you want to play. If you like to do video, then you can do YouTube and Instagram. If you like the written word, you can draft blogs and then create video from those blogs. So marketing is, and by the way, the thing too of deciding where you want to play, so Google and YouTube are the two largest search engines, and they are owned together. So if you just start with getting your keywords in order and posting something somewhere, it's going to pick up.
Your business plan will guide you on the messaging, will guide you on the core concepts you need to create any marketing plan. It will guide you at the moment of truth on a diversification opportunity, because you will know what your mission is and what your goals are. And you can say, all right, we have this opportunity to branch out, or to create this new product or this new service, or to hire these 3 new people to do something. Your business plan guides you in that decision making. And too often we find business owners are caught unawares, such as with COVID. And not the least of, so were we. Our vision plan, which is the name of our business plan, 23 pages, did not account for a pandemic.
Right. No one's.
But we pivoted because we have a written business plan.
Yeah.
We lost our entire pipeline of business on March 17th when the state of Connecticut shut down. We were working on about $3.5 million of financing deals at that point, all gone.
Yeah.
Nobody's lending, and businesses are.
And they were like 3rd and goal, 4th and goal, 1st and goal. We were in the red zone for closing.
But because we had our vision business plan, on March 18th, the next day, we created an immediate pivot for the pandemic, because we knew who we were as a business and where we are and where we wanted to go.
And the pivot actually encompassed 2 simple thoughts that do require marketing. And that was to stay relevant and to be a resource. And it just so happens they're both, it's an alliteration, resource and relevance. So, but yeah. And part of that goal was then the strategy of implementing the content that would be relevant and eventually get sticky with being a resource for people to find us and trust us.
And today, if you type into Google EIDL loan consultant, EIDL reconsideration, we appear as the first result, organic.
No paid advertising. So it's all about the content.
Cheap.
And I was just so happy when you asked us to come on your show, because biz dev is one of our favorite things to do. And I'm like, wait, we get to talk about biz dev with Cameron T?
Yes, please. I'm in. Is there going to be later?
No pizza.
So let me talk about this, because I think this is, something huge. And of course, I'm a big advocate for this. I talk about it all the time, but this idea of every company needs to be a media company. You guys have certainly embraced that. You're putting out content like you were a, film production studio in terms of, the videos and capturing those search terms. I think having that plan, I talk about all the time, like, even on a budget, right? You get on later.com, 30 days of content. They have the calendar for you. You can start setting up your Instagram posts. I think the great places to play for most people right now, especially if you're in the B2B space, you're in the marketing, real estate space, is LinkedIn and TikTok. I don't do enough on TikTok, but those are the places for organic growth. I know you guys are hitting on YouTube, and, so am I, but I think a lot of people are intimidated, one, by the fact that especially starting up a channel is very difficult. You start with whatever, 0 subscribers, and then building that. There's no instant gratification. You go on Facebook, you post up something, your friends like it, but you're building in those search term links. And then before you know it, suddenly you're typing things into Google, you're typing things into YouTube, and your channel, your face, your name, your business is popping up. And that's the value of it, right? Talk to us about...
Mm-hmm.
Say it again.
It's a long game. YouTube is a long game.
It's a long game.
Yeah. I've been studying YouTube for about a year now, and I'm not getting the results I'd love, but I'm not hating it because of the platform being accessible. And I've been tweaking it, especially really tweaking in the last 6 months. But I think we interrupted you. So
I think there's a lot of emphasis in any kind of marketing today in the 21st century where, your smartphone can call up the weather instantly, Google search, eIdeal, loan consultant, instant results. I grew up in the mortgage industry starting in 1989 when I had a beeper and a pocket full of quarters, and I had a sales route, which was in Queens, and my instructions from my manager.
Did you say 1969 or 1989?
I'm definitely not cooking lunch for you today. And my job was to walk into somewhere upwards of 30 or 40 real estate offices every single day. My boss called it the milk run, like the old milkmen, in the old movies, delivering the milk every day. Yeah. And when you have that type of cold calling experience, you learn real quick there is no instant gratification and instant result. You literally have to slog it every single day. And that ultimately gets your result because people get to know you. They get used to seeing you. Oh, it's 11 a.m. Trevor's going to be walking in the door in a minute. They get used to the idea of maybe asking you a question. And then once they ask you a question, you can move to the next thing. So for me, with our marketing, I understand the long game, and she knows about how to make it all functional out here.
But it goes back to any business that feels, that maybe they could up level or next level their marketing. There's always room for improvement. That's the beauty of it. And there's so many opportunities on where to focus for your marketing. So I think you had a question, and I think we interrupted you. So
I definitely interrupted you. That's what I do.
I know.
By the way, I got nudged. Just saying.
No, I think that what you're talking about. It just speaks to that idea. That long-term growth, because we're all looking for additional revenue streams, or at least we should be all looking for additional revenue streams for our business. And then there's this idea of paid marketing, and 1,000 different people talking about, hey, if you advertise on Facebook, if you advertise on LinkedIn, the underpriced things. But when you create that traffic and you bring people's eyeballs there, then suddenly not only do you not necessarily need to pay for traffic for people to come to you, but people will start paying you to start advertising their products. And I think that's a great reversal. And it's something that comes from the work that you put in. I also think that it's really good for people to understand that you don't have to be an entertainment professional or super outgoing to get on here. I had a guy on the show on Friday who has a channel on Excel. Now, he's an interesting guy. He did at one point go to Second City in Chicago to sort of, up his game in terms of his presentation skills as a teacher.
Oh, that's really nice.
I did improv acting back in I think it was 2001. I actually took an improv acting class to overcome that public speaking shyness and fear. And so that's really cool too.
I overcame fear at the age of 16 with my first gig as a musician with a tambourine, and I got paid $25.
Yeah, we got to talk about the musician stuff, because I know that's another side of things. But speaking on that same issue, like there's things like Camtasia. You can go and you can just talk and show screen. You can animate. There's so many different ways to do it, and there's a following. This guy, teaches on Excel. It's one of the driest things in the world. Think about Excel, right? Right up there with finance, and he's got 29,000 followers on YouTube, and they picked them up and they put them on LinkedIn Learning. So you can go now if you got LinkedIn Premium, check out his class. Oz do Select.
Well, I have a couple of thoughts on that before I forget, because that's happening these days. So number one, I think number one, as far as the organic versus paid, I think there needs to be a distinction, since this is the Biz Dev show and I love marketing and I dream about it. If you're going to pay for marketing, then I would suggest strongly and encourage you to make sure that your content and the script or the language that you use and the structure that you use, make sure that is meeting a formula that will convert. Otherwise, you're wasting your money and your time. If you want to at least start out by doing content creation and getting people used to seeing you and showing up, then I think that's a good start before you start paying. But either way, if this is not your bag, then yes, I think investing in a professional could be advantageous, so you don't waste your money.
If you're paying, so Cameron, speaking of really dry topics, I just wrote a quick script for a upcoming video this morning about cash flow management.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I am so going to fall asleep during that video.
Yeah.
It's dry. It's boring. But here's the thing
right now.
I actually am asleep with my eyes open while I'm saying cash flow management, and I snore. But the thing about if you're spending money, or if you're spending time and not spending money, but you're investing something into your marketing campaign, just like with any aspect of your business, you have to measure your return on that investment. The 3 hours you spend in the morning doing marketing, or the $300 or $3,000 you spent to hire somebody to do it. But it's important for you to understand your metric with marketing. What we've seen time and again, you mentioned, Cameron, about instant gratification. We see business owners who think that you put up a couple of posts on Instagram or Facebook or out there, and the phone should be ringing 12 seconds later. It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work that way.
They haven't created that expectation for that, how to measure the metric on the ROI.
I think before you pay anybody to do anything, and I know there are tons of professionals out there that are certainly worth their weight in gold, if this isn't a strong suit, then you have to weigh your time against the money of that as an investment. But I think one of the key things that a business owner should consider is a simple thing that I know I'm preaching to the choir with you, Cameron, but Google questions about your own business and then make a video about it.
No, listen, that's so big, because I'm doing videos every day, and then sometimes I forget. And it's great to hear these things as we're all business owners and trying to make these things work, because there's so many components and pieces to it, but understanding what I title a video, what I do with my content, understanding that I can take that same content that I put out and repurpose it in lots of different ways, because while it's work, right? There's a reason that we do it. Some folks love, the video aspect or marketing aspect a little bit more than others. But at the end of the day, when you're doing it and you're doing it consistently, which is what you were speaking to before, right? I can't go for my business, do 2 posts, and then
a month later,
all my marketing for the next year, next 2 years, which if you go and you check out somebody's website, or you check somebody's social media account, you'll often find that they've done a post or 2 in the last year. They have a post from May, right? And so that a social media presence does not make, right? You have to be more consistent than that. And I think it's very comparable to showing up in networking meetings, right? So, we're a member of Master Networks, a lot of crew from that. If you only show up, and I say show up, not just show up, oh, I'm here, but show up in terms of your engagement and what you give during that meeting. If you only show up occasionally, well, that's what people are going to think of you. If you show up every day and you're providing value every day, you're going to be somebody that people want to reach out to. And I think that's the same thing with social media. The only thing about social media is that it's open and it's public. So once you put in enough work, you can go viral. You're stuck
for it, and you have to find the platform that you're comfortable with. When I started T. Curran Mortgage, I'm sorry, I'm not nudging you.
It's a
pat on the arm. That was a pat on the arm. See, pat.
2.5.
That's a nudge. Okay. When I started tcurranmortgage.com way back in 2003, I think, ostensibly it was just to give directions to the bank where I was working because it was an impossible place to find if you're coming for a closing. But then the guy who designed the website said, I gave you a blog. I'm like, a blog? My girlfriend's 16-year-old has a blog. What? In short story version, it was not this girl. In no time, I was up to 3,000 unique visitors. I don't know, a day, a week. I don't know. He lost his mind about it. He says, what the hell are you doing? I go, I don't know. I put up a blog once a week, once every 2 weeks. But that's not a lot of frequency of content. But what I was doing was I was participating in online forums.
Yeah, engagement.
I was answering questions on Craigslist, on NewYorkTimes.com, on Yahoo housing forums, and people would go out of their way to find me.
Yeah.
So because that was a content platform I was comfortable with, writing a blog, I mean, I'm a pretty good writer, so I could do that. But answering people's questions all day long.
Okay, but this is I'm not even making it subtle. I'm making it subtle now. So the thing is about engagement and how to embrace the engagement is the reason why engagement, even though it takes more time. I mean, yes, you can publish and then you're done, and then without the engagement, but the engagement gives you more fodder to understand what your potential client, potential customer, your potential audience, tribe, whatever you want to call them, what they're thinking, what they need to know, how they're structuring in their mind questions, which will then give you the opportunity to expand on it with other content. And it just perpetuates itself.
There's an audience for you. Whatever your platform, whatever your delivery vehicle, just like your product or your service that you're selling, there's a customer for it. Otherwise, you're going to be out of business. The same with content. It's the same.
But here's another marketing tip.
It's the same.
It's the same. Here's another marketing tip for you that I wish I had learned, I don't know, back in 2009. When it comes to marketing, there is a difference between, and this is just super granular, but I think important, especially if you are engaging in marketing for your business. You can't have an email subject line be the same as your YouTube video title. It's not the same. And I'm going to tell you why. You need to use an email subject so people open the email they're already getting that they've already subscribed. With a YouTube video or an IGTV, perhaps, the way you title has to be how people are searching a how-to, or what does this mean, or what if. You need to answer, you need to have the video structured, the title of the video structured in a way that answers a question of when people are searching. So they're not subscribing, but they're searching, whereas the email has to be, because they've subscribed, how you want them to open it and learn more about what you're talking about. So I don't know why I got off on that, but I think that's super important, because when that was like
I think that there's two valuable things that I've noticed right along with that. One is, if you're typing in that same thing, so how would you get to that information? So you go to YouTube, you go to Google, you type in that question because you're like, oh, how would I get that information? There may be something that pops up. There may not be something that pops up. And either way, if there's nothing there, then great. You're going to be first to it. And that's awesome. If there's something there there's a couple of different things there, you can sort of take whatever that somebody else has done. And, we don't necessarily want to plagiarize or anything like this, but this is the beautiful thing. That how to whatever, nobody owns that, right? So you go ahead, you do that video, and you can do it better than that video. You can do it worse than that video, but you're going to be in the play for that. Right. Yeah, and I love that, because you can do that with token and stamping, like how to box a table, which is this complicated process for making sure a linen is well fitted on the table. You go to that.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there. Why am I not the top, ranking? Because I don't have a video there. So the reason that you're not getting play for your business is maybe there's somebody out there with a whack video that does a great job, but it's the only one there. So that's where people are going.
Right. But that's okay. That's even better because you can draft off that video with how you structure the keywords. It's keyword title tags, keyword title tags, keyword title tags.
Drafting, by the way, is a NASCAR term.
It's also a cycling term. It's also a cycling term.
It was a NASCAR term first. We've had this argument on live video before.
Okay. Anyway, all right. I know we're not talking about financing here, but
so let's talk about financing.
But
what
I think it's important. The reason why we
still talking about marketing.
Well, I'm talking about
nudge you.
Why we digress. Why we digress? Because
I think it's such a big part of a business, and when you go back to the business plan, sort of bring these two things together. I think that's a big part of the business plan is how are you going to get the word out? What's the long-term vision for your brand? And if that's not a part of it, then you should definitely be thinking about how are you going to get this word out? Because word of mouth is nice, but if you don't have a plan for, all right, so Trevor and Linda Ray, they took my service. They're talking great about me, but if I don't have a way to take that, they wrote a Google review. If I'm not taking that and processing it, what does that do me 6 months down the line when they're gone and they're not really thinking about me anymore? How does that live on? And so thinking about Google My Business and thinking about YouTube videos and thinking about these marketing spaces, if that's not in the marketing plan, then where it should be, right? So I think that's really good. All right, so let's talk about financing, right? So I got my business plan. I want to go out and secure some funding for whatever initiative, whether that's buying some real estate or materials, or even financing the next 6 years of operations of this major startup. What am I looking to do?
Well, you wanted the chance.
Oh, I thought you were going to answer this one.
You were nudging me to talk about financing, so here you go. All
right. Financing is really difficult and it's really easy at the same time.
That's not the only thing people need to know. So do you mean, Cameron, do you mean like the type of business or what to do to prepare for financing?
Right. So we know we need a business plan, right? So we know we need marketing as part of the business plan. I think for folks that, maybe don't have more than the 1-page business plan, or maybe are still,
I got it.
I'm going to
working on that.
Okay.
What do you do to sort of get ready? What should you have in place before you're thinking about, all right, I'm going to go after a bank for a loan?
Besides calling us?
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Besides calling you.
This is Trevor speaking. How may I help you?
Well, first, one of the things you can do if you don't want to call us because you're afraid we'll try to sell you something.
We definitely will, by the way.
No, don't. You can go to our YouTube channel. We have 4 video series that helps a business prepare for everything you need to know on what to do before you need financing. It's sort of like when I used to sell insurance. You need to buy insurance. What I can't believe I forgot.
I'm happy you forgot.
I know. Buy insurance when you don't need it, because when you need it, you can't get it. It's sort of like that with financing, except for you can still get financing if you haven't planned for financing, but you could be faced with surprises that delay or preclude you from getting financing.
There are 3 things, I think, 3 key concepts to answer your question more directly, Cameron, is going back to the business plan. Your business plan anticipates needs for the business. What we have seen too often is that the financing necessity sneaks up on business owners. Now, that is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, an opportunity may drop in your lap to acquire another company or to bring in an inventory of an exclusive product or something. But in general, what we see is that business owners literally are not planning far enough out in advance. So number 1 is your business plan. Number 2 is understanding the document process, which again, as Linda pointed out, we have it on our website, auroraconsulting.biz. And also we have a free download, which is a documents checklist. And then we also have our series of videos on the Linda, Ray, and Trevor channel on YouTube. So documents such as knowing that your tax returns they're going to be looked at for the previous 3 years. It's what we call the 3-year look back
I'm so glad you brought this up.
The 3-year look back. So understanding some basic concepts about your documents. That's number 2. And a critical review of those documents, which leads us to point number 3. Think like the banker. What I found in my career in banking was,
we didn't do that video yet.
People will come to me to borrow money to buy a house or to refinance their house, and there's this attitude that they don't think they're worthy of the loan. And we find that with the business owner clients also. And so they kind of come into the process in a different aspect of how they should actually apply for the loan. What they should do is strategically think like the banker. When you think like the banker, you think, how is it the banker is going to try to avoid giving me the money I need? And therefore, if I know how the banker is thinking to avoid giving me the money, how can I overcome that obstacle?
Also, I would like to say too, and this was in Cameron, this was in the video we did with the Pop Summit about making sure you engage the proper professionals. Yeah. So one of the things, since we brought up tax returns, which is absolutely essential. If you love your CPA and you trust your CPA, then you go to your CPA and you say, listen, I'm going to be planning for financing. What are some of the things that I should do with my tax returns? Is there anything different or anything a little bit, that's going to cost me more in taxes in order to be better funded for the future? If you're and there are CPAs out there, some of our clients, we've had to switch from their CPA. The CPA doesn't contact them. They don't call them back.
Not responsive. Anyway, the CPA's job is to get you
nudged,
the biggest. That was another nudge.
I think it's number 3.
It's actually number 6. Número 6. 6 veces, 6 times.
All right, go.
So the CPA's job, the tax preparer's job, is to get you the maximum refund. The problem with maximum refund is on the bottom line, reducing the income for the business. And so when you apply for financing, that's the number the bank uses. And often it diminishes your ability to qualify for the financing you need. That's why it's important to understand your documents and your critical review of those documents, so that when you have these conversations at tax time with your CPA and your CPA says, listen, this is what the refund's going to be. You say, hold on, hold your horses there, Jimmy. I appreciate you getting me a $7,000 refund, but you're showing my net income at $39,000. The bank's not going to give me money for a bicycle. And I need to buy 2 new machines for my manufacturing floor next year. So let's go back and let's talk about the strategy of how this tax return really has to be presented to the IRS, not the way you want to do it, Mr. Accountant. So that brings in my 3rd point about thinking like the banker.
Right. I think we do have a video coming up next week that's Think Like a Banker. I can't remember, but yeah, see that.
Don't look at me.
Once again, that's a title. Like, people are like, what? Why? How do I even think? I don't even know what a banker thinks. How do I? So
lend the money like it's your own money. That was one of the first things I was taught as a mortgage banker. And so as a business owner, you can flip that around. Pretend that you're lending yourself the money, and pretend you don't want to lend yourself the money. Oh, hell to the no. This business is too risky. Forget about COVID. I mean, just that, because that's what the bank does. They assess the risk on that credit profile, and they look to avoid lending the money.
I think we did a video on the banker is not your friend.
Well, we did the one where we speak bankish.
There's a blog on there.
We have a lot of videos.
We have a lot of videos. We have a lot of blogs, and they're all to help business owners. There's one video where I blatantly say, if you follow what we say in this video and this video series, you don't even need us, and we're firing ourselves, because we're just kind of telling you how to do it yourself. So
that'll give me more.
The value of giving away, you teach people, you gain that credibility and authenticity, and then you got somebody like me that doesn't want to do the financing, doesn't want to do the paperwork, and they call you because they know that you know what you're talking about. The thing that sort of strikes me in talking about, this build up to financing is credit, right? I need to have good credit. And then the thing about good credit, and people talk about this all the time, is like, well, they want me to have money and they want me to have good credit. If I had good credit and I had money, I wouldn't need the loan.
Okay.
Well, that's
and I understand that, but I also understand this piece of, that's why we go back to the beginning of, save your money and make sure you're making a profit.
I'm going to let you answer. I want to see how much you've learned from me about credit.
Well, okay. So it's not going to be to your standard, and I'm sure this will be nudge worthy. The thing about credit and having money, but not needing to borrow money, there's also a thing called leverage. And leverage is borrowing someone else's money at a rate that is fair enough so that you get more money than you have now, but you're worthy of receiving it because they want to loan it to you because you will pay it back, so that you can then expand your enterprise sooner than waiting till you have the money. It's sort of like pennies on the dollar. Now, don't nudge me. This is an example of life insurance, because I used to tell people this because someone said this to me. They're like, well, why do I need to buy life insurance? Why don't I just save the money for my family instead of paying the premium for the insurance? I'm like, oh, do you know when you're going to expire? Do you know when you're going to have the $2 million that your family needs? Are you going to have that in the next month, maybe or in the next tomorrow? Because you don't know what's going to happen. So it's about leverage. But this is the thing about credit. It's a tricky thing, and it's going to be even more tricky with COVID. People are going to have lower scores than they imagined ever before if they're in a compromised situation.
It's already happening.
It's already happening. We wrote an ebook on rebuilding credit after bankruptcy, which everything in there, all the tactics can also be applied for rebuilding credit with a low credit score.
Or building credit from scratch, or building credit, in any form.
The thing is, there are ways, depending on the situation, if you have a lower credit score, depending on how low, that things still can get accomplished. It could take longer. It could be harder. It could cost more, but.
Well, it will, so to go specifically to what you said, Cameron, the issue becomes your credit score will determine the lender's interest in taking on the risk of lending you the money, which could potentially narrow the options for your lending opportunities if you have lower credit scores. Yeah. See what I did there with the hand? I didn't nudge you either, by the way.
I know. We have a bunch of videos on credit score, credit reports, credit repair. Straight up disclaimer, we do not believe in credit repair. It does not work.
It's a scam.
We discussed it in our ebook on rebuilding credit.
It's a scam.
He's a little bit more vehement about it.
It's a scam.
Okay, but anyway, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You have to rebuild it. And that's why we wrote the ebook, because credit is so important to financing, and it became an obstacle.
Actually, having good credit is actually ridiculously easy to do. Stop looking at Credit Karma. Stop looking at your scores every 3 hours on your smartphone. Stop that. Have 3 to 5 accounts open and active that you are using on a daily or monthly basis. Pay those bills on time. Don't let your revolving balances go over 50% of your available credit, and you will have good credit. It's that simple.
It's that simple.
More often than not, when people come to us, and this just happened 2 days ago, low credit score, and I said, well, do you have a bankruptcy? No, I've never had a bankruptcy. Do you have a foreclosure? No, I've never had a foreclosure. Do you have collection agencies calling you every day looking for money? No collection agencies. I had some old collection accounts. I paid them off, AT&T, $100, and this one for, $300 medical. I said, so I'm going to guess, without running your credit report, that your problem is you don't have 3 to 5 accounts that are open and active right now that you're using for a car loan or student loan or a credit card to buy gas or to buy groceries. And those things are not reporting on your credit report because you don't have them or you don't use them. He was like, oh my God, how did you know that? I said, I've read thousands of credit reports.
Thousands, over 30 years. I'm not talking dozens in the last 2 years of our business. Thousands over 3 decades of lending money. And he wasn't a broker.
I'm old.
He wasn't a broker. He was the bank. So,
the striking thing that sort of just still sticks out in my head is like the cash management piece of it, the understanding. I know you're talking about how boring that is, but for somebody that's done payroll for the last 9 years and understanding that you have to have enough cash in your payroll account in order to make your business work. And that is reflective of what your invoicing situation is and your accounts receivables, all of those lovely, beautiful, exciting terms of business.
Hold on, receivables. You've just answered you know about this? Accounts receivable financing? You know about this, Cameron, don't you? Because you're laughing.
listen.
You know,
you have to know about it if you want your business to function. If you got clients, multiple clients, you got to know this stuff. And I think
people
that
don't know about it.
one of the things that's really important, I'll just finish this and then I'm going to let you guys wrap it up, is this idea of just making sure that you are putting that profit away. Because I think at the end of the day, cash on hand equals credit. One, for doing what you're saying, pay your cards and accounts on time, because that's sort of the whole ballpark when it comes to credit almost, right? Other than just having some open accounts and doing business out in the world so that things are reporting on you, but having that money on hand and having that plan that we keep on going back to for actually creating profit and savings and making your business thrive, which is so important.
Well, I think before we wrap it up, I think you saved the best for last in that when it comes to financing, there is many business owners don't know about it, and most lenders or bankers don't do it. It's called accounts receivable financing, AKA factor financing, and it's all based on your accounts receivables and receivables pending. Your personal credit score, your business credit score, it doesn't matter. Apply. It's the credit, it's the worthiness of the accounts receivables and how they perform. And all the accounts receivables are scrutinized and they review the vendors and such. So you can have money coming in sooner than you are used to receiving, and you can run your business effectively like you're talking about, and not so much have to worry about some of those elements you were talking about, because you know your accounts receivables perform well because you trust the people you're working with. Your money is coming in, it doesn't affect your credit, and you can, handle the payroll.
For entrepreneurs and small businesses, especially on the services side, I think that's a big revelation. If you haven't heard that before, right? That listen, you've had clients, you had people pay you, maybe you had 2 or 3 big clients that was, responsible for, more than 80% of your profits over the last 5 years, especially in the COVID. Like you have a strong case, even if you don't have some of these other credit pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. It's also known as asset-based lending. We have a ton of videos on that as well, and blogs about it. So, but I just want to say thank you so much for inviting us. I know we blabbed on and on and on about
one and the other.
So talk to us. Who are people that you want to connect with, and where can folks find you one more time? And then we'll play out with the biz dev thing.
Well, right now I'm at the dining room table.
Okay. You can find us at auroraconsulting.biz, B-I-Z, and Aurora is A-U-R-O-R-A, like the Northern Lights, Aurora. And we have a YouTube channel that I am working on. So we would love for you to visit our YouTube channel. It's YouTube/Linda Rey, R-E-Y, and A-N-D, Trevor.
Trevor, not Tucker, not Terrence, not Trent, not Clever, not Kevin, not Treasure.
So those 2 places. We're also on Instagram. Instagram is Aurora Consulting on Instagram. I'm also Hey Linda Rey everywhere. Twitter is my jam. I love Twitter. And who do we want to connect with? I mean, as far as who we want to connect with, if you're looking to grow your business and financing can help your business, and you are thinking about how financing could work for your business, then just give us a call. It doesn't cost you anything to talk to us to see if it's something worthy of pursuing at this moment or what you need to do to prepare. We would happy as the Cameron courtesy, so to speak, to chat with you to understand what's going on and what tips
we also offer a flat fee kind of pre-qualification where we'll review all of your financial documents, including your business plan, your tax returns, cash flow statements, and balance sheet, and tell you today, this is what you would qualify for if you wanted to walk into a bank with or without us as your broker. This is what would be available for you based upon what we're looking at. Or telling you, you're in bad shape. You need to fix this aspect of your credit profile, whether it's a credit report or your cash flow statements or your tax returns. We'll give you some cogent advice on how you can look forward so that sometime in the future you could qualify for financing.
Yeah. Well, thank you for showing that. Yep. That's our YouTube channel. We love our YouTube
there's
channel.
metrics and everything.
Yeah.
I like metrics.
I know you do.
Metrics.
We're working on it. We have it's a small channel, but it's mighty. Oh, we can't hear you. Why can't we hear you?
We lost you.
We lost
I'm sorry. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks, Cameron.
You guys are great. I'm
You're
sure we'll have
great.
Jackson. Thank you.
I'm gonna.
Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron